buffer systems.
And not able to use one with a weight inside of it.
Oh, yeah.
Doing.
This is a sound mitigation buffer
Yep.
from Armispec. This is a carbine weight buffer right
JP
here.
has their silent capture spring. This is the sound mitigation, and then there's Armispec also has their SRS.
Yep. We're going to have a whole video on this coming out in a little bit, so I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, but we were just talking about innovative buffer things that are going on right now. This is a big movement. The kid shot hydraulic buffers, the magnet buffers CJ was talking about. All
The
kinds
world
weird
of
stuff.
buffers is amazing. Maybe we should do a whole video series on it. Which we are going to be doing, by the way, guys.
So for the twang that you hear, this is the solution to it.
The
Like
solution.
That
the
someone
ultimate
hears, I
solution.
don't hear it.
I forget how much these are, but
These ones aren't too terribly expensive. I want to say they're sub 100.
oh yeah, yeah. I think
That might even be like 60 something. 76.
67.
What is the difference
$76.95.
What is the difference between this one and the kind of the normal stealth recoil spring,
Yeah,
the SRS?
Uh,
Because this is the SM.
the silent or
There's a silent captured.
Yeah.
silent captures JP, and then there's the sound mitigating, which is this one.
Okay,
Then
so
there's-
this is a naming thing.
so
SRS.
then there's the
SRS.
SRS.
Yeah.
What does that stand
Stealth
for?
recoil spring.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
So again, another like sound mitigating one.
This sounds like semantics and naming. And
It 100%
It's
is
all
naming.
marketing, man.
The thing is, though, is if I'll give respect to JP, they made these.
They did.
first
They started
mover.
it. Yeah.
That's got to be a weird one for you to be in because you're friends with guys at both companies.
Yeah. I mean, I like people at Armispec.
Yeah.
I've been friends with people at JP for years. So
Yeah.
Joaquin over.
yeah.
over
I mean,
there.
business is business at the end of the day. Like I don't get involved with their business, but at the same time, they both put out great products for what they are. I use the forbidden P word. But yeah, so I don't know. I have these in a few guns.
I've seen you use these quite a bit actually.
Well, so one of the nice things is you can skip the retaining pin, the buffer retaining pin. You can skip that completely.
Which that is one of the main things that ends up flying out.
Well, and so the other thing that does too is on some ARs, not all, this is a stacking tolerances issue that we're talking about here. But essentially what happens is, say this is your buffer, this is your bolt. You want these touching, barely kissing. When you shut your upper to your lower, you should actually see your buffer come back a little bit. Your bolt should touch your buffer and it should make contact. You don't want any free travel there. If you have free travel, that means that your bolt, there's nothing like pushing on your bolt to hold it in battery at that point, outside of it just the cam locked in. So you always want positive contact there. And sometimes, some guns, it's not super common, but you can see it every now and then, is with the tolerances built in, there'll be a little bit of a gap between the bolt and the buffer when it's shut.
So many guys are running and breaking their gun down shotgun style right now. Just
Yep. And so you should see it. Like most of them are going to do it.
Yeah.
A lot of buffers, they'll actually have a slightly domed top. So this one's got a chamfer in it, just so it can come forward to that pin just a tiny, tiny bit.
you can actually see on this one where it's been kind of scraped from that
Yep.
bolt.
From the,
riding
yeah,
down on
yeah,
it.
you should see a little wear on there.
Yeah.
So by removing that pin, you can make sure that this is always up against your bolt. You don't have to worry about that at all at that point. Other than that, there's no sound to it. It's one part versus two, but at the same time, one could argue that this is more than one part. It's just a system now.
Yeah.
It's a captured system.
I mean, you can get the H3 on that sometimes for like $60,
Yep.
which is a really good price.
Yeah,
right
and
now.
allegedly these don't work well with the FRT boys out there.
They're not
I
fast
saw a
enough.
lot of comments saying like, yeah, just they aren't slow enough. They don't slow it down enough.
Oh, I see.
At the end of the day, the FRT side is you need to slow it down because they're overrunning
So
themselves.
it sounds like Armispec needs to make some adjustments and do an FRT version.
Yeah, I saw a couple of people talking about the 9mm version on it, and I don't know. Again, like if you're running FRT, go H3.
Yeah.
Go find a heavy buffer somewhere, a heavy spring, and call it good if you're having problems. A lot of the times problems can be solved by increasing buffer weight, not decreasing. So it kind of counterintuitive sometimes. So
Cool.
Right,
So,
so-
I would say these, for me, are a underrated accessory. I think a lot of people will do a normal buffer, especially nowadays. Like, these used to be, get a H3 normal buffer, and that's like way less expensive than, something like this. Now, all of a sudden, these have gotten more expensive because of the cost of tungsten, that all of a sudden, to make the jump to something like this, a way nicer system in my mind, it's like not.
an H3 silent captured spring or silent recoil spring or sound mitigating buffer, cheaper than an Geisley H3 today.
Yeah. So, in my mind, that makes these.
Until some random farmer in Arizona does what happens every single time America runs out of a precious resource.
Start using mercury.
No, some farmer's going to just stumble across like $7.4 trillion of the stuff in Utah or something at some point. So, until that happens.
I know at one point we were looking at mercury for buffers because it's like what has the same density as tungsten, and it's not a lot out there.
No.
But how cool would that be? It was like a liquid mercury hydraulic buffer.
That sounds very dangerous.
Well, so does firing a gun.
Liquid.
Yeah,
Well,
it'd be fine.
I mean, honestly, like liquid mercury is not that dangerous, like unless
Don't
you
eat it.
ingest it.
yeah.
Like you can get mercury on your skin, and it won't even go through your skin. It's so thick.
You ever seen the YouTube videos? There's a YouTube video of a guy filling up a toilet with mercury.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? And he tries to flush it, and it like just won't.
It
do
won't
Like,
flush.
the bowl actually breaks from
Yep.
all the weight.
Yeah, I don't know, the chemistry in me, back in the day, the chemistry side, like I still love that stuff. There's a guy named Niles Red on YouTube. He's been out for a while. I don't know if you guys ever watch him, but if you want to nerd out on some chemistry stuff, you go watch his channel.
Overrated, underrated.
I think underrated, especially for easy install. Now, the hard part is if you're going to install a captured recoil system, you should remove the buffer retaining pin because these are designed to have that removed. And so if you don't, you could actually end up in the situation where you got a little gap between your buffer and your bolt. Also, if you don't remove the pin, it gets really hard to get it out,
It does.
especially if you have a trigger installed.
Yeah, and it's not great to get in either. You're going to have to argue. You will get it in easier than you'll get it out, but
Oh,
you're going
yeah.
to have to argue with it to get it in, too.
I mean, get it in, you got to come at an angle, and then you'll push the trigger down as you go in, and you
That's
gotta,
what she said.
You got to give it a little shove to get in there.
And we're demonetized.
What are we talking about?
We are not talking about assembling anything.
Okay.
Not assembly. But at the same time, so like you want to remove that pin, that requires castle nut and plate, back that out, back the tube out. So to do it properly, it's not a 5-minute install. It's probably more like a 30-minute install, and you need a castle nut wrench to do it. You might even want a new end plate if your current end plate is staked. Might even want a new castle nut. So if you're gonna go this, like
Those are all very cheap
I would say
upgrades.
underrated, but I think a lot of people miss the proper install of these, and they just literally push the retaining pin down, shove it in, and they don't realize that they just made a problem with that happening instead of it being kissing all the time.
So for me, this is both. So on the sound mitigation, I think it's
Like my
overrated.
wife.
I think it's overrated because the sound mitigation does not help me in any way. I don't hear the noises that you guys hear for some reason. So for me, it's overrated on that. Where it's underrated is on the price. Because, like I said, I saw one of these today for $61, and it was the H3 variant.
Yep.
And getting an H3 buffer for $61 is pretty freaking hard right now.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
think our cheapest H3 buffer is just under $100 right now. So and
for-
with that, you get the spring too. So like this is all in one assembly.
Yeah.
And
One part.
Yeah. So
Nice.
I think buffers are probably the most underrated part. And I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say that because it seems like we do anything about buffers and gets views. But
Exactly.
it's probably because they are so underrated and misunderstood on what they do and how they work, and how much they actually matter to the function of an AR-15.
And how much they change the function and the experience.
Yeah.
Overall. Before we close things out, I wanted to do a little bit of sound testing to see how much of a difference the SMB actually makes when you're racking your gun back and forth, testing a little bit of the sound to see if this thing actually makes things quieter from a scientific point of view. Let me explain what I mean. So what we have here is our dummy AR-15 here, our tester, and I have a microphone rigged up right above the buffer tube, and you see here I have a buffer assembly all put into it. What we have here first is a normal mil-spec buffer with a normal mil-spec spring. We're going to rack that 3 times, and then we're going to put in the SMB into this dummy AR-15, rack that 3 times. Then we're going to take a look at the waveform files on the computer, grab screenshots of those. I'm going to show you guys what the actual difference is from a waveform perspective. And what a waveform is going to tell us is it's going to show us the spike in sound, and we're going to be able to measure how tall those spikes are to see which one is quieter or if there's any difference at all. Okay, let's get started. So up first is the mil-spec buffer. Okay, that was test number 1. Let's go ahead and move this out of the way. I am going to remove the buffer retaining pin, guys, like what we talked about. Very important to remove that. There we go. Now we have the SMB all installed, and just so you guys know, I am keeping everything locked off here. You see I have the microphone locked off here. I have the lower receiver locked off, so everything's in the same position so that this can be as fair of a test as possible. All right, let's go ahead and do the SMB sound testing now. Now let's go ahead and grab the files off of the microphone and take a look at the waveforms and report back our findings. Okay, we crunched some numbers. Let's take a look at the data. So here's a couple of screenshots from the waveforms themselves. I know these spikes look pretty similar, guys, but there's actually a lot to them. Let me explain the 2 big things to look out for. So let's take a look at these screenshots. On the top is the mil-spec buffer, and on the bottom is the SMB. Now what I'm seeing here, the big difference is you see the bottom of each of those spikes. Well, for the mil-spec buffer, the bottom of its spike is a bit wider. This tells me that there's more volume, there's more ambience to the sound. That probably is because you have a hollow spring reverberating throughout a hollow buffer tube right here. That's what's giving it that low bass of sound. The second thing to look for is you see the top of each of those spikes. Look closely at the top of the mil-spec buffer spike. You see how the very top is cut off? That's telling me that the sound is so loud that it's peaking the microphone. What we don't have is as much of that on the SMB. So it is in fact quieter because that sound is not getting peaked, meaning the sound isn't as loud to peak the physical microphone itself. So guys, all in all, the SMB is in fact a quieter buffer system than a normal mil-spec buffer. So if that's something that you guys care about, having a super quiet system within your buffer tube, then SMB is definitely the way to go. And if you guys want to learn more all about different kinds of buffer systems, not just captured systems, but braided springs or flat wire springs or even hydraulic systems, go ahead and check out this video right over here.